And hello and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you. Thank you for being here. And as always, I hope you enjoy the show. Well, we're going to highlight the Ivoryton Playhouse, which is based in Ivoryton, Connecticut. I had the pleasure of having somebody back with us, which I know that you'll really enjoy. His name is Ben Hope, and he's the executive producer. And Ben, welcome back.
Thank you so much. I'm always happy to be here.
It's so nice to have you.
Yeah, thanks. It's nice to see you.
You know, we were talking before we started taping. Jackie Hubbard was here last fall, and I wanted really the audience is interested as what's happening at Ivoryton, and I wanted to have you come and give a voice. Here we are in the summer as to what's happening. How are things going?
Things are going great. As you know, we're celebrating, everyone this year is celebrating the semi-quincentennial, the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And so our season is very much geared toward telling American stories and celebrating kind of the patchwork that is the American landscape. And so we started out our season with a show, I'm Connecticut, which is written by a Connecticut local, Mike Reese, who was a writer for The Simpsons and has done a lot of things, very funny comedian. And that show went great. People had a wonderful response to it. It was a lot of fun. I hope some of your viewers were able to see it. It really is, it's a great show, and we were kind of sad to see it go. But we just opened last week our second show of the year, which is called Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill. And it is a show, a biopic about Billie Holiday. And it is one of the most extraordinary performances I've seen in a really long time. I genuinely mean that. We have this young lady, Christina Acosta Robinson. She's a Broadway veteran, and she's also lives in New Haven, which is awesome. She came out of the Yale School of Drama, and she is exquisitely talented. And her portrayal of Billie Holiday is, it's three-dimensional, and it is heartbreaking and engaging. I mean, you can't look away from her. She is so phenomenal. And so it's a great show. I highly recommend anyone that's a fan of jazz music, live music, and certainly the American catalog of famous songs. I think God Bless the Child and many others in Billie's repertoire. So it's a great show. We're really excited. It opened to a lot of positive feedback to our audiences, from our audiences. So we're excited about it.
Well, before we talk about your season and what's happening there, what I like to do is introduce the guest to the viewer, which you may remember or not.
Sure.
Why don't you go back into your history and tell us about yourself? Let the audience get to know you a little bit.
Sure, thank you. My name is Ben Hope. I'm from Alabama. I was born and raised in Birmingham. My wife, Katie Barton, and I met as apprentices in 2006 at a small theater in North Carolina called the Flat Rock Playhouse, and it was there that she and I both kind of became really passionate about the regional theater scene, and when we moved to New York, then we kind of worked in lots of different places, regional theater, and I was on Broadway for a while, and my wife was on a Broadway national tour for a while, and then we worked for Norwegian Cruise Line some, and we've just been all over and done all kinds of things, but deep in our hearts, I think we always knew that we really wanted to end up in a small or mid-sized regional theater because those are the places where we have had the most profound artistic opportunities to grow and to collaborate and to work with people who are extraordinary professionals, but are also still great collaborators. And in the higher echelons of the work that we've done, when money and power and fame kind of got involved with some of the projects, some of the passion kind of slips away in lieu of those other elements. And so Katie and I, who's the development director at the Ivoryton Playhouse now, she and I both just really wanted to focus on the second half of our careers, on celebrating artists, putting the right artists with the right projects, and really just being kind of artist-forward producers and collaborators. And so that's what we're doing at the Ivoryton Playhouse, and we're so thrilled to be a part of their historic lineage and a part of their bright future.
I think that people will listen to you saying he's an actor, executive producer. What was it like for you growing up? Did you know that you wanted to be an actor?
Oh yeah. I loved entertaining, even when I was a small kid. Actually, I was on the high school basketball team, and I didn't play a lot of minutes in the games, but I did entertain the crowds quite a bit. So when the coach would call a timeout or whatever, I would always take a rag and mop his bald spot on the back of his head to a lot of applause and laughter in the stands. So I think I knew, even when I was playing sports, that the theater was the place for me. So I had a great career. I was so lucky to work with amazing people on amazing projects, and now we're here doing this work, which is different from the onstage stuff. But I think we have a real nice three-dimensional view, Katie and I, of the work because of our careers as actors and musicians and entertainers.
Well, people probably are listening saying, I've heard of the Playhouse. I haven't heard of the Playhouse. I've been there. I haven't been there. Can you tell us the history of the Playhouse? What is it? Where is it?
Yes. The Ivoryton Playhouse was erected in 1910 as the Comstock Cheney Hall. It was a gathering place for the folks that worked in the piano factories and the ivory processing factories over there in Ivoryton. And in 1930, Milton Stiefel, who was a producer at the time, purchased the Playhouse, and he started to produce small works using connections that he had in New York to Hollywood elite stars who might be in New York performing a limited engagement, and then when their time was over in New York, they might be looking for a small escape or maybe to workshop a new piece. And so Milton would have those actors, and I mean, like, you know, the elite Hollywood stars of the 40s and 50s. And so that's how it kind of got its start, and that makes technically Ivoryton Playhouse the very first summer stock theater in the United States, which is really cool.
Wow.
And so this year is our 97th producing year.
Wow.
In this country, which is such an incredible feat. And so we're just so excited to be continuing that legacy.
The building itself, the grounds, the seats inside. Tell us about the foundation itself.
Yeah. Well, the Ivoryton Playhouse Foundation, I'm glad you said that. The foundation itself actually is charged with the mission of maintaining the facility itself. So that 114-year-old building needs a lot of love and a lot of updates from time to time. Just last year, we spent a good amount of a grant that we received from the state. We rebuilt this stage in its entirety, went all the way down to the joists and rebuilt the stage. We pulled up the old original floor and laid down a new subfloor where the audience sits, and then put down a nice new floor there as well. So when you walk into the Ivoryton Playhouse now, it doesn't squeak. With every footstep, you can sneak to the bathroom and not disrupt the show. And so the foundation takes that work very seriously because we want to make sure that building lasts another 115 years.
How many seats do you have?
We have 270 seats technically, according to the fire marshal. We count 250 as a full house though, because a lot of those other seats are where the ushers sit when we've got, we don't want to make our ushers stand through all the performances, so we like to save some seats for them.
How is theater doing, your perspective? How is your theater doing?
That's a great question. I can only talk from our limited experience, but I think we're having a wonderful time at the Playhouse. I don't know in the grand scheme of things how theater itself is recovering from the pandemic years. It was a really tough time to come out of that pandemic and then kind of enter right into an ecosystem where funding is sort of being pulled away from the arts in a lot of places. I think we're lucky to live in Connecticut, where there's a lot of local and regional and statewide support for arts and arts programming. And so that said, I think we've been enjoying a real positive environment of not only support from our local patrons and the people that have given so much of their time and money and resources to the Playhouse to keep us going, but also from the state and from local foundations that give us grants for all kinds of things. And so personally, and for the Playhouse, the state of theater is very strong and going really well. And I think it is necessary now more than it ever has been to tell stories that are both entertaining but also impactful and that ask tough questions, and even old pieces where we pull a thing off of the shelf and re-examine it to see what's still relevant. I think those are important questions to ask now more than ever.
Your title as executive producer, what does that entail?
What doesn't it entail? The producer is such a kind of generic term, I think, and so often I think a lot of people don't know exactly what a producer does. And certainly in the theater world, there are multiple types of producers. So we're a nonprofit organization, so the term producer might be a little bit of a misnomer. My work centers mostly around putting artists with projects. So that's casting the shows, writing the contracts, dealing with the actors union, but also helping Jackie Hubbard select the pieces that we're going to do, kind of giving our season an overall thematic structure. And then, of course, it's about putting the right resources to the pieces. So I do all the budgeting, and I make sure that our teams are, watching the hourly wages go out the door. We just have to have a lot of oversight as well, because the size of our organization in the wintertime is about, I want to say 14 of us. But when we're in full-scale production mode, the team swells to almost 75 or 80 people. When you bring in the hourly people that are painting and doing carpentry work and stitching for the scene shop, and the actors and the designers and all the people. And so all of those teams need some oversight and some management. And so I try to keep everybody, I try to keep all the resources flowing in the right direction.
Okay, we're going to take a break. Can you hold that thought?
No problem.
Okay. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You're tuned into Arts and Entertainment. We are going to take a break. We'll be right back.
If you plan to travel internationally, beware of passport scams. Better Business Bureau's Scam Tracker has received over 800 reports this year. These scams trick people into paying a fee to fill out a form that's a free download on the U.S. State Department's website. As a result, consumers may be misled into providing their personal and financial information on potentially unsecured websites. While there is a charge to get a passport, the forms themselves are free. Appointments with the State Department's passport centers are also free. If applying for the first time, you must do so in person. If renewing a passport, you can do so online. If you're running out of time, you can opt for expedited services and shipping through the official government website, travel.state.gov. Verify passport procedures through this website and plan ahead to prevent rushing into potentially fraudulent quick fix options. There are private companies that may pick up passports for customers. If you choose to use a passport expediter, check bbb.org to verify legitimacy and make sure it's registered with the State Department. Report scams to Better Business Bureau Scam Tracker. That's bbb.org/scam tracker.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you. Thank you for being here. We're highlighting the Ivoryton Playhouse, and Ben Hope continues to be my guest. And Ben, we were talking briefly during the break. Let's not forget the website, ivorytonplayhouse.org. What will the viewer find when they go there?
Well, the most important thing they'll find is a link to buy tickets.
Yeah,
That's where we want you to go.
Yeah.
Grab your tickets to Lady Day, which is running now through May 31st. But then you can also explore our website. There's a lot of information on there about what you can do around the Playhouse if you want to go have dinner before you come see a show. Also, there's a whole list of the artists that have appeared on our stage from the golden age of Hollywood, which I think is a really fascinating list. Artists like Tallulah Bankhead, Katharine Hepburn, that kind of thing. So you can find that list in our in the historical page of our website. And then there's a blog post where you can find information on things like auditions, if we're having local auditions or auditions in New York City. Those things kind of end up in our blog post.
Speaking of auditions, we have theater people that are out there, actors, scenic directors, you name it. You know it better than I do, that would be interested in performing or working at the Playhouse. How do they present themselves to you?
Yeah, the best thing to do is to check our website regularly for information about auditions. We typically do the bulk of our auditions at the beginning of the year, so January, February. And so we had a call this year early on for all the first 4 shows in our season. season. I'm sorry, the first 5 shows in our season we already auditioned for, and the 6th show in our season is actually already cast from the cast that we used last year. We can talk more about that when we get there.
Yeah.
But in the blog post, there's always going to be a listing that says when we're having auditions and what we're auditioning for. The bulk of our auditioning happens in New York City, but we do always hold local calls here, typically at the Playhouse.
Your season, how do you and whomever else decide what you're going to have performed in a year?
Oh, it's a great question. We actually, Jackie dropped a script on my desk yesterday because we are already behind for choosing 2027. But you get into the nitty gritty of the current producing season and you get a little overwhelmed. Jackie has a great instinct for what this audience, our kind of regional audience, is interested in, and the kinds of things that they can accept in terms of kind of being pushed one way or another by subject matter, and so we focus most of our programming on entertainment. We want to make sure that our audiences are for the most part leaving our building feeling very entertained, outside of that, we then also want to make sure that we're providing messaging of stories that are relevant, stories that are impactful, stories that are three-dimensional, stories that ask questions of us, that hold a mirror up to us as a society. And then also, like I was saying to you, I think before we started, we oftentimes focus on shows that have existed for a while, where you can kind of pull it like a museum. You can pull an article off the shelf and kind of examine it from all directions and extrapolate what's still relevant in our current lives. And so anyways, all that to say, Jackie has a great instinct for those things. She has a great instinct for our local audience. And so she'll often come to me with lots of titles and ideas of things to read and what might go well with this thing. If we pick the first, summer musical, then we can build around that thematically. And so this year, for instance, is the 250, America 250. And so we wanted to make sure we were kind of being really consistent across the spectrum of these shows, that they're all telling important American stories, stories about what it means to be an American, to have pride in America, but also the moments where we've failed, or the moments where we have been in challenging situations as a country and as a nation, and as a people. And I think the season that we ended up with is a beautiful patchwork of that. I think it gives a lot of dimension to those ideas.
So we're in 2026. Plays are happening. You're already deciding on 2027?
That's right. We're starting conversations.
Okay.
And we're already a little behind, I would say.
So we're in May, a little behind. So
Yeah,
when does this really start?
Well, once we kind of dial it into a handful of options for each slot, all 6 shows would have maybe 3 or 4 titles that we're really, truly considering. Then I would get to work on building preliminary budgets for all of those pieces so that we can look at them side by side and say, is this piece going to serve us economically, or does it serve another function? Like maybe it's not going to be a big seller, but maybe it brings in a different kind of audience. Or maybe it's telling a story that we think is really important, and we know that we've got a big selling show somewhere else in the season, so we can focus on this really important story that we think needs to be shared, even if we understand it kind of in a budget comparison, that it's not going to be a big ticket item. And so those conversations then have to kind of unfold about the economics around each selection, and what are we able to do in an economic manner. And so that's kind of how that unfolds. I would say that we would probably know tentatively what we're going to produce next year by middle August, and then we have a private season reveal for our top donors in October of every year. And so by October we have to know, because we have to tell everyone.
To the playwright that's listening to us, do you accept new works?
We do. It's difficult to produce new works, obviously, because they come with a lot of financial risk in that they don't have, oftentimes don't have a name that is easily recognizable and that kind of thing. But that being said, we find that producing new works is a real part of one portion of our mission is, as a nonprofit, is to provide cultural value to our community. And one of those ways would be by presenting new works to our audience or written by our audience. Local Connecticut, like Mike Reese, whose show we produced first this year, even though that was an older show. And so, yeah, absolutely. If you would like to submit a new work to us, my name is Ben, and you can find my email address as ben@ivorytonplayhouse.org.
What was I thinking? I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
What's playing now, are you pleased with it? Was it a good choice?
It is an amazing choice. And I knew Billie Holiday's music, you know, like I was familiar with God Bless the Child. But I had never really dug into who Billie Holiday was as a person and what her music means to so many Americans, and the struggles that she went through as a Black artist, growing up through the Civil Rights era, and really just the profound difficulty that she faced as an artist, and the ways in which she was bold and brave enough to not let that define her, or not let the struggle define her necessarily, but to overcome even inside her own like difficult issues that were likely related. She had some substance issues, and so I think it's a perfect show for this season. I think she's a profound icon of American music. She's an icon of the civil rights movement. And I think her story currently in very vivid 3 dimensions on our stage is a blessing to this community. I highly suggest everyone come and see Christina Acosta Robinson be just absolutely captivating and enchanting as Billie Holiday.
Well, here we are in 2026. You're talking about 2027. Does the theater have a 1-year, 2-year, 5-year plan with its mission? What are your thoughts about moving forward?
Oh, that's a great question. We are currently to talk from a board perspective, we're currently in the 2nd year of our 5-year strategic plan. And a portion of that plan was to kind of like focus on sustainability, future sustainability for the Playhouse. Not necessarily environmental sustainability, but economic sustainability. Like we mentioned earlier, there are some declining numbers in terms of subscription purchases. There are declining numbers in the amount of federal funds coming to arts organizations. And so against that backdrop, we want to make sure that we're focusing on how we can provide our community the service that we guarantee them, but also how do we get that community involved in what we do and have them help us sustain the Playhouse into the future. We're not quite a year into a capital campaign because we're building a new rehearsal studio, which is really exciting.
Oh, wonderful.
That's going kind of on Main Street there in Ivoryton, just kind of across catty corner to the Playhouse. And that project is a wonderful opportunity for us because it is going to allow us to give access to the Centerbrook Meeting House back to the community, because we've been rehearsing all 6 of our plays there every year for a very long time. And so that's a great opportunity for us to kind of expand our footprint so that we can give something back to the community that we've been occupying. And so we're really excited about that. That project's been going great. Our capital campaign has been amazing. We've gotten so much support and so much incredible effort from our capital campaign committee and all of our amazing donors. We're very grateful for all that support.
You're talking about community. How is the relationship between Ivoryton Playhouse and Ivoryton, Essex? I mean, how is it going? Are you all friends?
Great. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the strength of one of us is the strength of all of us, particularly in a town as small as Essex. And so I think we've got right next door to the Playhouse is the Ivoryton Tavern. They closed for renovations a few months ago, but they're back open. Their interior looks gorgeous. They're back to serving food, serving drinks.
It's delicious
Around,
there.
it's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
And it's a great place pre-show or post-show for a drink or a meal. And Brickside Pizza is moving from kind of up the street in Ivoryton to the corner where the Blue Hound used to be. And we're really excited for them. They haven't opened quite yet, but they're opening soon. I saw that their sign just went up. And so we're thrilled to have Brickside right there next to us. And so I think Ivoryton I think the Playhouse is such an important cultural hub, and certainly I would say an economic hub for Ivoryton. But also I think we have a great relationship with the folks over in Essex and the Ivoryton Alliance. I don't know if you're familiar with the Ivoryton Alliance, but we have great relationships with Jonathan Steele, and we're so grateful for all the work that they do on the 4th of July parades and the trick-or-treating at Halloween and all those events that they hold. And we're always happy to collaborate with them on those things.
Well, we have run out of time.
Of course.
So I
talk too much.
No, well, you gave what the audience needed, and that was really great information.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being here.
It is always my pleasure.
And I'll have you come back and give another update.
Please do.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'm Deborah Gilbert. You've been tuned in Arts and Entertainment. In case you need to reach me, I'm at dgilbert777@hotmail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I'll see you next time.